Hello, hello, hello. Howdy, howdy. Okay. I think we're going. Very good. So, this evening I am blending another version of a fragrance I've been working on. My fountain pen is dripping, which is great. Sorry. I got a blob of ink on my paper now. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing, basically. I thought I haven't been on for a while, so apologies for that. Apologies also for my webcam does this autofocus thing, so it might kind of lose focus and come back in again if I move around a little bit. I know it's kind of a little bit distracting for the eyes, so there's nothing I can do about it. I can't lock the focus on it. So, unfortunately, I have to deal with that. But apart from that, enjoy. I'm not going to tell you exactly what I'm doing because I'm blending something I'm actually going to be launching, so I don't want to give away the formula, so to speak. What I'm putting in here is ambergris at the moment. Okay. I think I can put more in. I'm going to stop here. This is a fragrance that I've done multiple versions of, so I kind of know roughly, obviously, what I did before. My bin's a little too far away. I'm going to have to move that. So basically I tested it, I wrote notes on it, and kind of decided what I wanted to adjust. And now I'm remaking it with those adjustments in mind, essentially. So, ambergris is one of the base notes. Yeah, there's a lot going on here. It's I don't want to give too much away because it's one I'll be launching, but yes, it does use ambergris. Actually, two kinds of ambergris. At the beginning of the stream, before I actually started it, it started with orris butter tincture, which I'm trying to... It's a slightly delicate note, the orris butter, so instead of putting it in like halfway through, which is what I would normally do, I put it in right at the beginning, and I'm going to try balance around the more delicate note, if that makes sense. It's a little bit not how I usually do things. But I'm going to try and balance the other notes so it's difficult working with really expensive materials because the cost gets out of control. So things like orris butter are very expensive, and then when you're blending it with other expensive things, it gets a bit crazy. So I'm trying to do it in a way where I can not overpower the more expensive ones, if that makes sense. It's kind of trying to balance. It's a balancing act. You try and balance everything. When do you plan to launch this one? By the end of the year, hopefully. This is multiple versions of it. When I worked out, if anyone followed me on Instagram, you'll probably know what I'm talking about, because one of the versions I did of this was going to be so incredibly expensive that I had to basically say, well, I'm going to have to reformulate it because no one can afford it. It would have been like a £300 fragrance. So yeah, I'm rejigging it in a way where, how do I explain it? I'm trying to explain what the problem is. Okay, so you've got a formula, and some of the notes in the formula are very expensive, but they're kind of subtle to smell. They're not potent smells, so you have to use quite a bit of them. And then some of the other materials are not as expensive, but they're actually more powerful, stronger smells. And so if you use a lot of other materials to bulk out the fragrance, to make a whole fragrance with all these other materials, and then you're introducing the expensive ones which aren't as powerful in the aroma, you have to use a lot of them to be able to actually smell them, because the things that aren't as expensive are actually more powerful, more perceived to the nose. And so the problem is you've overdone the other notes and making it difficult to smell the ones that you're trying to home in on. So that's the balance, is I'm trying to basically reduce those other notes so you can smell the expensive ones, at the same time as not using too much of them where the cost becomes a bit insane, where it's going to be like £300 a bottle. It's difficult working with where you've got like several materials that are quite expensive instead of just say like one really expensive material. If you're using multiple, it gets tricky. So that's the conundrum I'm in, is trying to make this where it's not ridiculously expensive, where no one is going to be able to buy it. That's basically. So it's kind of a balance between, basically you've got to take into consideration people actually have to be able to afford to buy it. So that's the raw reality of it. I can't just make what I like because no one would be able to buy it. Well, some people would, but I'd sell very little of it. So it kind of gets into the territory of like people like Ensar Oud, where you're paying like £300-400 a bottle for something. I don't think my audience can. My audience isn't big enough to be able to sell enough of that kind of fragrance, so I can't go as insane with the expensive materials. I have to be more thoughtful, where I can still use them, but they're in a dose that is attainable. Does that make sense? I'm trying to explain it the best way I can. It's basically the nature of working with like high-end materials, is if you use too much of it, the perfume becomes too expensive. Let me just move this bin, hold on. It's on the wrong side of the room. So, basically that's it. Let me just, where am I? Did I not write that down? I should have done. There we go, okay. There's the colour so far. How's the music volume? Is it okay? Hopefully it's okay. Okay. Sounds quite challenging. A little bit. But we'll get there. Reset my scale. Okay, so far this is just white ambergris with oak moss and orris butter. I can smell the orris very nicely, but I've not added all the other stuff yet. So I'm trying to do it in a way where I can still get a little bit of that orris butter, but everything is blended around it nicely. I want to introduce some green notes, but we're not going to get there quite yet because I want to finish off the base things first. I'm doing it in a weird way, to be honest. I'm using a mid note as a base reference to not overpower it, if that makes sense. It's not how I normally work. This is a bit of a weird way of doing it, but like Roger making cologne versions. Is that the reason he does it? To make them more affordable? Maybe. I mean, I'd like to do it like full-on hardcore, but if I do, and I supply it to a shop, partly it's the shops that make it expensive, because the shop only pays you a certain percentage of the retail, and you have to still make a bit of a profit on that. And so if I'm supplying to shops like Lucky Scent and Ecuation Natural in Spain and my new one in Abu Dhabi, you have to set the price in a certain way to cover the cost of that. They're not going to actually pay you the retail. They're going to pay you, a lot less than that. That's where it's tricky. Like the last time I did a really expensive one was Chambeau, and I didn't give it to the shops. I sold it direct, which meant I could sell it cheaper, so it was more affordable. Whereas this time I can't ship to America directly anymore because the shipping laws have changed. Well, I could, but you'd be paying like a crazy freaking tariff thing that they've done, which is it would just cost a lot. I'm a bit worried about doing it. People might pay like $200 in brokerage fees to import it, so you know it kind of makes it difficult for people. I've lost track of where I was going there. What was I talking about? I went off on a tangent and I've lost where I was going. Anyway, next up we're using some of this. Oh yeah, I was talking about how I could do it cheaper before because of direct sales. Now I can't supply to America and I can't supply to Europe directly. I've got to do it through stockists. If I sold this one cheaper and only did direct sales, basically I'm only selling to the UK. I don't have enough UK customers to be able to do it, basically, so my biggest audience is America. So this has to go into a pricing bracket where it takes into consideration the stockists. This is the trouble with like a small independent brand is, you know, it's just bloody difficult. Basically, is the honest truth of it. I'm doing my best. Okay. Let me just smell that first. It should be about right. I'm going to round that up. It's a 0.7. I think I'm going to go to maybe 10, I think. I'm going to be careful with this. I use a upside down test strip to weigh this. .9 and oh, there we go, 10. Perfect. Excellent. That should be okay. I'll give it a sniff. Good. I can still smell the orris, which is nice. I've got an itchy nose. There we go. Sorry I can't look at the screen the whole time. You're right, US tariffs are just stupid now. Oh, it's crazy. I hope they change it back because it's not good for business. Off topic, are you still working on the boats? The offshore diving stuff? No, I don't do that anymore. I don't think I'll go back to it. I could do, but I'd have to redo my the qualifications that you do for it. They expire. Well, the main qualification doesn't, but you need some of the qualifications expire every like 3 or 4 years, and you got to redo them. And mine are out of date now. So like, I'd have to redo inspection course for like inspecting welds and stuff. That's quite expensive, like thousands of pounds. I'd have to do offshore survival again, where they rotate you upside down in a swimming pool in a helicopter. They've got like a machine that simulates a helicopter that's mounted above a swimming pool, and they dunk you down and roll you over, and you got to unbuckle yourself and break a window out and swim out, and you got to do that like 5 times. That's like offshore survival. I'd have to redo that. I'd have to redo my medical. I'd have to redo a few things. I don't think I'll go back to it, to be honest. And my diet changed as well since I stopped eating meat. And the problem is, well, you don't need to know my personal stuff, I suppose. It would be very difficult for me offshore not eating meat anymore, basically. That's another consideration. As daft as that sounds, that is, I would literally be living on noodles and chips. I'd probably die. Anyway, let me concentrate a second. So we need myrrh next. I'm using a little bit of resins. Okay. I just have to concentrate a little bit. This is, I want to stop at 10. Stop. Is that too much? We've got 11. No, we got 12. Okay, that'll do. We aimed for 10 and we got 12. That's 0.12. Okay. Okay, we'll stop and have another smell. So if anyone is like wondering what the hell am I doing, and you've just tuned in, this is a fragrance I've worked on multiple times, multiple iterations of it. And the last version I did, I tested it and wrote a bunch of notes on, sorry, my neck just hurt then. I tested it out and wrote down a whole load of notes of what I need to change, and so this is another version with those changes in mind. So I kind of roughly know what I'm doing because we've done this a bunch of times already. But I'm approaching it in a different way than I did before, because some of the notes are a little bit more delicate, like the orris butter. And so usually I would have had the orris butter like halfway through in the midsection, because I tend to start with base, then mid, then top. But in this case, in this version, I've put the orris in first, and I'm building everything around the orris, and so I keep smelling it to check that I can still smell a little bit of the orris. I want to actually be able to smell it, because it's one of the most expensive notes in the formula, along with oud. And so, because of its expense, it's just getting the balance right, and I feel like this approach might allow me to do it in a way where it doesn't get overtaken. Basically, is how I'm approaching it this time. Is the myrrh in liquid form? I mean, it's pretty thick, but yes. Okay. If the music's too loud or not loud enough, you can let me know and I can adjust it. Okay, we are looking at my note list a second. One of the materials I'm not going to add in this stream because it's tricky as hell. I'm going to be using frangipani, and it's like a thick, solid paste that I'm going to have to heat up and mess around with to get it out of the thing. So this is leaking all over my page. I dropped it on the floor last month, and it's not been the same since. It actually broke the cap. I did just refill it though, so maybe it's just not... I don't know. Anyway, I'm making a mess of my paper. Let me just look at my notes here. So I've got all the materials I'm going to be adding already written out. I've excluded the ones that I'm taking out from it from before that I'm not going to put into this one, or this version of it. Okay, I think I'm trying to work out the best way to approach this, because I want to do it in a different way to I did it before. Okay, I'm gonna add the musks next, and some of the sweet notes, the tonka. Okay. So I used a deer musk note last time in quite a heavy dose, a heavy quantity. It's a synthetic deer musk recreation. It's not real deer musk. I don't use the real stuff. The trouble is I use so much of it, and this particular one is very expensive, that it added a lot of cost to the formula, where it just starts to detriment the formula, where it's not giving the benefit in terms of per cost ratio, if that makes sense. So I'm trying to reduce the amount of it so it's not as expensive, with balancing it with other musks. I'm basically conscious of the cost, essentially, is what's going on. I have to balance it better, where the cost isn't going to be like £300 a bottle. So hopefully I can approach it a little bit better this time. I'm going to use a cleaner musk along with the deer musk. This one is called Muscone. But we're not going to use as much. A little bit. Stop. No, I want 8. I want less than 10 for this. There we go. Okay, we're gonna have a break again and smell. Okay, it's smelling alright. Then I want one more musk, which is what are we gonna use this one? Yes. Match that in quantity, so this will be 0.08 as well. Should be about there. Yeah, perfect. Okay. Okay, next. Oh. Wow, that deer musk is strong. Oof, bloody hell. I could have done with a little bit less of that. I think I've overdone it. Well, it'll smooth out when I add this. That's without the sweetness. It will change when I add the... Okay. Sorry, I'm ignoring the chat here a little bit. It's not... I can still smell the orris. I've not added a ridiculous amount of... It's not real deer musk, by the way. It's a synthetic recreation. I've not overdone it. It's... You can smell it, but it's not like ridiculous. Anyway, I'm just balancing this next material. Okay, we're going to stop there and smell. Okay, I want a little bit more. A little bit more. Okay, I think that I don't want to go over that. I think that's good. Okay, where did I write it down? Where are you? There we go. Cool. Smelling alright, that. Very nice. Let me catch up on the good evening. Hi, Kevin. So if cost was not a problem and you could use whatever, how much would the fragrance cost? If I did this the way that I would do without any kind of constraints, it would be about £300 a bottle for a 30 ml. And that's not a particularly... Yeah, it would be over £300. It'd be about, realistically, like between £320 and £350, because I worked out the cost. Sorry, just clearing my nose a little bit. Yeah, it'd be over £300 for a 30 ml. So my brand, no one's going to buy that. So very few people are going to buy that. So I can't launch that because it's just too expensive. So yeah, we're giving it another go. I'm trying to balance it in a way where it's not going to be like that. What do you do if you don't like what you make? Do you just throw it away? Eventually I do. They get put in bottles and then in storage, and I could probably pull out 30 bottles of fragrances that I'm never going to do anything with and won't sell. And in fact, there's some down here. I could grab one for you. Hold on. Yeah, like that one. That was one that I decided not to do anything with. There's a whole bunch down there and in storage and in boxes, and yeah, eventually they just get thrown away, or sometimes I give them to my sister because she likes some of them. And so my sister will smell them and go, oh, I'll take that, and she'll take it and wear it as it is. But I don't consider them like, they're not ones that I would actually sell. So, yeah. Sorry, I'm just looking at what I'm doing next. Okay, I'm not going to add this note. Okay, so we've got... Okay, let's see. Okay, I think I'm going to add the florals next. And then I'm going to do the green notes. The green notes are tricky because they're very, very strong. And so I don't want to use much of them because it'll overpower everything else immediately. I'm also using leather in this, which is something I've not used before in any of my fragrances, but like a small touch. Okay. I'm actually launching a second brand, by the way, this year, which is exciting. I've got a second brand with a second, so it's a second brand name, a second bottle, second website. It'll have its own website. There'll be, I don't know when it'll be launched. Maybe end of November, beginning of December, maybe. So that'll be cool. I'm excited by it. I assume the price would go down on a higher scale. If you mean like the more bottles you make, then it can do. In this case, like I'm using oud specifically. This is the oud I'm using, and I've only got that amount of grams of the oud, and so this will only make a certain amount of. But I'm trying to hold it straight. I can only make a certain amount of bottles of this, and so the cost is divided by when you actually work out all the materials and how much you can make. That will where the percentage of the oud in the formula allows you to make certain number of bottles. So does that make sense? This is hard to explain. So my formula has a certain percentage of oud in it, is what I'm saying. And so you have to work out how many milliliters of final perfume you can make to the percentage of oud that's in it. And so it might, in this case, it might be in the range of 60 bottles for this amount of oud. And so then the cost is based upon that you're only going to have 60 bottles of it available, so you have to make a profit on only selling 60 as opposed to selling 100 bottles, in which case you could sell it cheaper. Does that make sense? So yeah. Okay. I'm just trying to decide what to add next. I think I'm gonna do the leather first because it's like I'm literally gonna do a single droplet. I think it'll be like 0.2 on the scale. 0.02, maybe 0.01. Yeah, zero. Oh, a little bit heavier. 0.03. Crikey. No, 0.02. It's right on the edge. Okay, I thought it would be. So I'm only adding it like literally the smallest amount possible of this because these are very... The thing we're working with the leather is if you just leave it to macerate for a month, it seems to get stronger somehow. That's my experience with working with it. And it just dominates the fragrance. Like it just takes over everything so easily. So I use it in like the most tiniest doses. So I can barely smell it here, but I guarantee if I just let that sit for a week and then wear it, I would smell the leather, it comes out. So I'm just kind of scared using it, to be honest, because it just overpowers everything eventually. So I use like tiny little bits of it. Okay, I'm actually going to add this next. Hold on, I'm going to find it. There we go. Actually, do I want to add that? Let me think a second. I think I should. Do I? Or do I not? Oh, I'm just trying to decide whether I want to add this or not. I think I'm not going to do it this time. I'm going to leave that one out. Right, hold on. Sorry I'm being a bit cryptic. I don't like giving away everything I'm doing. Okay, I'm not adding that particular material that I added in the other versions. I'm going to do something different this time. Let me just think a second. Okay, I think it's time to add the florals next, and then I'm going to do the green notes. Okay, that's what we'll do. Let me just check the comments. Can you talk a little about the oud you are using? One is by Mess Oud, and it is called Merauke. It's an Indonesian wild oud from 2023. It's sold out because I bought all of his stock. And the other one is by Ensar Oud, and it's called Santosa, which is a Thai Cambodia from 2020. So Santosa is 5 years aged, and it's a combination of the two. Those are the ouds I'm using. Is it better if you buy from your website or from the distributor? If you're in the UK, obviously, you have to buy from me. If you're in Europe, you have to buy from my Spanish stockist. If you're in America at the moment, then you basically have to buy from Lucky Scent, because I've turned off the American shipping temporarily because they did some executive order which makes it difficult for small businesses to ship to America, because now you guys will have to, when I say you guys, I mean Americans, you'll have to pay import tax on low value items and what they call a brokerage fee. That means because I send with FedEx are going to send you an invoice when it comes into the States, and you're going to be charged anywhere between $50 to about $200 for just small goods as a brokerage fee. That's just the fee of FedEx dealing with it, on top of the import charge. And so to avoid you guys paying an extra $200 on top of the perfume, I just turned off the shipping, and people will be able to go through Lucky Scent instead. So unless that changes, that's the situation. Anywhere else in the world, you can either buy from me or a stockist. In general, it supports me more buying directly from me. However, it also supports me buying it from the shop, because if you buy from the shop, they reorder from me, and they keep me on as a partner, so to speak. So, however way you want to do it is brilliant. Thanks. So Peter, what's going on? We are blending a fragrance that I've done numerous times, and I'm doing it again. Basically, I'm making another version of something I've been working on. I'm approaching it in a different way this time, because the way I was doing it before wasn't working out for me. That's actually smelling... It's actually quite nice. I mean, I don't mean to sound surprised there, but what I mean is like... what I meant by was that right now, if I didn't do anything else, if this was some other brand, they could sell that as a finished perfume already. That's how nice it is. In fact, I'm going to take a picture of what I've done without adding anything else, because that might actually make something next time. Let me just take a picture of my... Okay. That's like a perfume by itself. Damn. Okay. A friend is messaging me. I will... Why is my phone broken? Come on. My iPhone's just died. Okay. I was beginning to think you'd gone missing. Sorry. Yeah, I actually got sick. I got a really, and it's my sister's fault, Sophie. Sophie got sick. Then she made Chris sick and me sick at the same time. And I was sick for about, like, I mean, really bad flu-y cold, like really bad cold, not exaggerating, like unpleasant, constantly blowing my nose, and it lasted for like over a week, like 8-9 days it took to clear, where I couldn't do a video because I was just blowing my nose just constantly, sore throat, banging headache, like it was very unpleasant. So one full week was just I was sick basically, and then I've also just been busy in life. I've had to. I'm moving my stock of bottles and lids to a different storage place, and so I've got basically thousands of bottles, several thousand bottles and lids that need moving slowly over to the new place. And I bought racking, like metal industrial shelving racks I've got to build. Excuse me. Sorry. And so I've been doing that kind of thing. I'm also going to be moving soon from here where I am now. And next month I will be moving. And so that's stressful. I think I'm moving temporarily to my sister's second house. My sister's got the main house that they live in, a family home, and she's renting a second one, which was her first house. And that tenant is leaving at the end of October. I think I'm going to be moving into it in November, temporarily. And so yeah, I've got a lot of stuff going on. I'm also building a second brand, and so I've been organizing that. I've been like paying for doing the website. Well, I'm not paying anyone else. I mean, me having to purchase websites and what's the word? Trademark the brand name, do the labeling. The labeling was so complicated. You wouldn't believe how hard it is to do labeling for a bottle. So I'm not doing pewter things for the new brand. It's paper labels, but getting the right shape, the right color, and the right texture of paper took like multiple attempts. Like the first time I used like an organic kind of paper that had a bit of texture to it, but when it came it had like lines in it, which I didn't like, so I had to get rid of that. And then I did more of a smooth paper, but it was slightly varnished, like a sheen to it, and that looked fine. But then when you try and take photographs of it for product photography, the light reflections screw it up and you can't read the writing. So then I had to change it to matte finish so it doesn't have the shine, so it photographs better. And all of that is just it's taken ages just to, and then the label was too big and too fat, and I had to like figure out how to get it the right, just a lot of design stuff that's taken a long time basically. Sorry, I'm giving you a lot of in-depth answers here that you probably don't need to know. I've just been busy is the honest truth. So there you go. Thought you were a pharmacist at first. Cool. Fancy. Do you add oud every single time you rework this? No. It costs too much. Sometimes I make the whole fragrance without the oud at all to see whether the whole thing works as a perfume without the oud, and then I introduce the oud to get the balance and the level that I want of the oud in relation to the whole other thing. Does that make sense? And that's what I'm doing this time, in a sense. Actually, not quite, because I'm going to add the oud at the end. I'm going to do everything as a finished perfume without the oud, and then I'm going to add the oud at the end to get the level where I can smell the oud enough to be satisfied. That's how I'm approaching it in this version of it. Oh, God. Sorry, I need a breath after that. What's the new brand though? I can't tell you too much. The new brand is going to be cheaper than Centauri, so the price range is about this. It's basically the same as Imaginary Authors in terms of pricing, but mine will be 30 ml a bottle. I think theirs is 50, but price per ml it'll be the same as Imaginary Authors. It's more affordable. You're looking at like £50 a bottle, £55 a bottle, that kind of range for a 30 ml. So it's about half the price of Centauri. It will not come with a box. The bottles will come in a pouch, in a velvet pouch. Believe it or not, that actually saves a lot of money to the customer because the boxes aren't particularly cheap. That does add cost to any brand, is the box. And so I can make it cheaper in multiple ways just through the presentation. It's not a bespoke bottle this time. Partly I can't afford to do that ever again in my life because it almost bankrupted me. Yeah, I can reduce costs in certain ways. One of the cost saving ways is don't give you a box because a lot of people chuck them in the bin anyway. So I thought I'd put it in a bag instead. So it's going to be in a velvet pouch. They're going to be more. Don't expect like super high-end naturals in the new brand. They're going to be more, again, Imaginary Authors style. They're a little bit more synthetic, but just because something is synthetic... Hi Eugene, nice to see you, buddy. Just because something is synthetic doesn't mean it's bad. There are a lot of great smelling synthetics, and the new brand is going to be built more around affordable materials, so we're talking about synthetics and, you know, cheaper naturals that aren't going to be like ridiculous, like real ambergris and real oud and, you know, that kind of thing. But done in a tasteful way, long lasting, smells good. That's the idea, but affordable, you know, it's just an experimental brand basically. The second brand is me having fun, making something not quite as serious. There's no heavy concepts behind it, like this is inspired by, you know, the things that I do for Centauri. The new brand is a little bit more lighthearted and fun. There's no heavy conceptual ideas behind it. It's just, here's a fragrance that I think smells good. It's got these particular notes. Enjoy, that kind of, you know, that's the vibe I'm going for. It's easygoing, it's minimalistic. It's like minimalism design and aesthetic to it. I think it's cool. I hope people will like it. There will be samples available. Oh, and I upgraded my samples as well. I got brand new 2ml sample sprays that spray way better than my old samples. These are a vast improvement. So that's exciting that I've got, you know, better quality sprays. Okay, let me take a breath. Okay, let me knock things over at the same time as taking a breath. Sorry, I'm talking a lot here. I feel like I need a drink. Where's my water? Over there. We'll take a drink in a minute. Excuse me. Sorry if you're hearing my stomach making noises here. Okay, next we're adding florals. This is lotus flower. Pink lotus. Okay, and I'm going to stop at, I think about there, but we'll give it a smell. So that's 0.09, nope, 0.10. Okay, so we've got 0.10. We'll give it a smell. This is less than I added last time, but we'll just give it a go. Okay, so I can still smell the orris as the main vibe, which is perfect at the moment. Trying to do little rabbit sniffs so I don't overwhelm myself. I'm going to add just a tiny little bit more, so just let me write that down. 0.010, I'm going to add to it in a second. Just like literally just a little touch more. Okay, I'm going to stop there, I think. I'll just write that down now. Okay. Let's give it another smell. You see the colour? That Pink Lotus is like a dark, dark brown colour. So I think the balance is good so far. We do have another floral to add. Let me just check on the comments again. Hold on. It has 300. No, I said 30, not 300. I've got 30 like experimental blends of things that I worked on that I'm never going to launch. That are in bottles and I've tested, and I just decided I'm not going to launch them. Usually I give some of them to my sister and she just wears them out. The rest, to be honest, go in a bin. I just dispose of them because I don't know what else to do with them. It's just going to be called Peter's. How many different materials do you use in your whole repertoire? When you say repertoire, do you mean like all of the fragrances of Centauri? Like how many individual notes I've never added up? I've no idea. Or do you mean like how many are in this organ? Because again, I'm not actually sure. I don't know. Either way, I can't answer you. No, just while working. Oh, you mean on a single formula? Well, hold on, we can add that. So this particular one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. This particular one's got 24, and I simplified it. The other version was quite a bit longer. Hold on. The other one was about in the 30 region materials. I've simplified this one. I've cut a bunch of materials out. So there you go. Some of my fragrances in general, like Elixir for example, Elixir was exactly 10 materials, which is very low. In fact, it's the lowest I've ever made, which is funny because it's the most powerful, most potent and most longest lasting I've ever made. But there was only 10 materials in Elixir. In general, my perfumes tend to be in the 20 region, 20 or so materials. Yeah, like between 20 and 30, I would say. Okay, let me just look at what I'm doing. Reorganize my brain. Where are we at? Oh, I don't know whether I want to add that as well. I'm still eliminating things from this. I did have jasmine sambac in it last time. I think I'm going to remove it this time and not add it in this version. The florals in this are actually orris butter and lotus flower. I don't know whether I could add like just a tiny bit. No, I'm going to leave jasmine out, I think. I was kind of thinking of adding just a drop, but I don't think I'm going to do it. Okay. I'm just working out what I want to eliminate and what I'm going to add next. We're looking at frangipani, that's the other floral. Okay, that's a pain in the ass. I'm going to have to do that off stream because it's just incredibly awkward. The frangipani is like this thick, really thick wax which is extremely sticky, and I can't get it out of the tub easily, and it's just so faffy, and I don't want to do it on video because of how faffy it is. Basically, I'm going to need like 2 different spoons, and it's going to be like it sticks to the spoon on this one, and then you try to get it off with that one, and it sticks to this one, and then you're just constantly doing this for 10 minutes trying to get it to get off the spoon. It's just, anyway, I could probably do with heating it up and diluting it to make it easier to work with in future, but I haven't done that yet. So, To be honest, I could leave it out. I don't know how much. Probably doesn't make much difference in this fragrance, to be honest. Oh, I'm in a quandary. I don't know what to do. Let me just think a minute. Okay, we'll look at the comments. I kind of need a drink of water. Is Orris Butter and Lotus your signature? I wouldn't say it's my signature, but it's probably my favourite florals. Lotus is wonderful. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. I think it's not used because it's expensive, to be honest. But the smell is absolutely gorgeous. I really love Lotus. I think it doesn't have the indole that Tuberose and Jasmine does. Tuberose and Jasmine can be a little bit funky, a little bit feral. Lotus is this thick, sweet, watery-like floral that's just freaking beautiful, but without any kind of indole, without any funk, without any... there's no downside, it's just pretty, and that's what I like about it. Orris Butter kind of depends on which kind of... Some Orris... They're not all equal. Some don't smell very good, some smell better than others. You got to kind of find the right one and the right oh god, my brain's not working. Iron level. The audience might appreciate it. Might appreciate what? I'm lost. Could be educational. What are we talking about? Sorry, I've lost track of where the conversation was going for that to make sense to my brain. Sorry, Lily. Your rant about Frangipani made me respect Bortnikov more for using it in everything he ever does. I'm presuming he's like diluted it down in something to make it easier to work with, because in the raw form it's an absolute pain in the arse. Lotus reminds me of the 90s. Really? I don't think it's very commonly used, but I don't know. I love Orris Butter Francesca Bianchi pretty heavily as well. A lot of people do use synthetic Orris and Iris accords rather than the natural because of how expensive the natural is, or a combination of both. Watching the handling... okay, sorry, I get you. Watching the handling of the Frangipani. No one needs to see me struggle with 2 spoons, Lily. It's just embarrassing. Okay. Where are we at? Okay, I need this. I need that later. I need that. I don't need that. I don't need that. Okay, these 3. Okay, we are using some unusual materials. Oh, I need that as well. In this, I'm going to be using material called Tulsi, which I've never used before, but we are using a little bit of it. To be honest, I'm using it more symbolically rather than for its smell. The smell is weird. It's kind of between... I would describe this Tulsi as smelling somewhere between clove and spearmint or peppermint. Imagine a hybrid between peppermint and clove, and you're gonna get somewhere in the realm of Tulsi. We're gonna be using galbanum, and we're gonna be using a leaf note, which I'm gonna keep a little bit secret as to exactly what it is, so people don't copy me. As the guitar music finished, let's put it on again. We can turn it down a little bit if you're not into it. If you don't like it, just tell me and I can turn it on. Turn it on? Turn it off. That's what I meant. In women's body perfumes, body sprays, it says Lotus. There's no way they're using real Lotus. It's very expensive. It'll be like a fantasy note accord thing that they use, probably. Oh, let's not go there, dude. Let's not go there. I've mentioned using Tulsi or Holy Basil a long time ago. Sounds medicinal. It is. That's why I'm not using much of it. I'm using it. Sorry for swearing there. Almost. Sorry, my pen is dripping all over my. I've got a fountain pen that's just dripping on my paper everywhere. I've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got several. Can you see how many splunges of things on my paper here? Anyway. Sorry, I'm completely losing track of what I'm adding next. Okay, we're going to be adding this next. Okay. I want 0.20 grams of this exactly, if I can. Okay, I got a weird buzzing in my ear. Is that in the room or in my ear? It's like a high-pitched buzz. It's gone. Okay, it might have been in my ear. Okay, let's just give this a smell. Let me just roll up my sleeves, sorry. Okay, let me think. That's the colour for anyone interested. Okay, cool. I think we're getting somewhere. I don't know where we're getting, but we're getting somewhere. Okay, I'm leaving that out. I'm gonna add. Oh yeah. Okay, we're gonna add that next. I'm adding a secret note that you will not know what it is. Well, you would know what it is if I told you, but I'm not going to tell you. That's why you're not going to know what it is. This is a note that I'm adding, which I'm not going to put on the note list. And I just, purely out of curiosity to see if anyone says, oh, I can smell this such and such a note. Even though it's not on the note list. And then I'll know who's got the good nose and who hasn't. I do that sometimes. I just purposely leave things off the note list. Just to see if anyone ever says, oh, I can smell this. And I'm like, ah, they know. They've got a good nose. It's just my own entertainment, to be honest. Okay, I don't think I'm going to add any more than that. Or should I add a little bit more? Hold on. No, I'm going to stop there. No. Maybe a little bit more. Sorry, I'm kind of debating on the level. Let me just do a little bit more. Okay, I'm going to stop there a second. Okay, I'm not going to add any more, that's good. Cool. It's Timber Silk. Funny. No. Tinnitus. I don't know, now and again I get like a thing in my ear on one side. It lasts for like 10 seconds, then it goes away. I don't get it all the time. It's like maybe, I don't know, once every couple of weeks, maybe once a month. It's just like a high-pitched sound that's like, I don't know, about 10 seconds or so. It just kind of tunes in and it's like, I can't even replicate the sound, it's higher than that. And then it kind of just stops, and then it's gone. Looks like a nosebleed. Oh, the ink on the paper. Yeah, I should probably put the cap on when I'm not writing. Maybe that would stop it. It's because it's red ink. A mosquito. Cumin? Absolutely not. What are you working on today? Hello, hello. I didn't have time to read your comment. I just looked at it and then it says message retracted. What are we doing? Okay, let me just think a second. Hold on. Where am I at? Okay, we're doing the green notes next. That's where we're at. So what am I doing? I'm just doing something. I'm not quite sure myself. I'm working on a fragrance I've been working on for a while, doing numerous iterations of it. The last version, let me show you the last version. Hold on. Do I have it close to hand? I do. This is one of the versions that I've been testing, and yeah, I'm just redoing it again another time. So yeah, we're just making another version of the same fragrance I've been working on for a while and seeing if this one is any better than the last one, essentially, is what we're doing. But I'm approaching this in a slightly different way. We're doing it a little bit different than I did before. To be honest, I think I made it too green. Oh shit, hold on. Sorry, I'm banging my elbow. I think I made it too green last time, and that's was a mistake. I think I actually want it less green. So yeah, I'm going to be very careful with the next bunch of notes because I don't want to overdo it. I think it went wrong. Well, it didn't go wrong. It smells good, but it's just too green. I want it less green. The green notes are very powerful, like they overtake. And I don't want it overtaking. Let me just get my brain in order here. Where there's a note I'm looking for. It's not you. Where are you? I've lost it. Where's it gone? I know you're there somewhere. Why can't I see it? There we go. Found it. Now I've got to decide whether I want to keep this in or not. Okay, I'm going to leave it out. I'm eliminating things where I don't think they're going to make enough of a difference. Sometimes I approach things differently. Sometimes I do purposely complicated things, and I do it for a reason that if I make something complicated where there's lots of different notes in small amounts, it makes it very difficult for people to perceive what they're actually smelling. And then it has a subconscious effect of people going, oh wow, this is really well blended and this is super niche, because they've got no idea what the hell they're smelling. And it's because I've purposely made something complicated. And that works sometimes. And other times, I eliminate notes that aren't necessary because it overcomplicates it, but in a way that sometimes it can smell better if you don't overcomplicate it and you streamline it, and it becomes smoother in a way because you've eliminated all the little bits of things that you'd put in there that maybe technically aren't really necessary. You're just trying to give all these little extra nuances, but that maybe muddy it sometimes. So there's a fine line between muddying something and having something complex, so to speak. In this version, I've already tried a version where it's like ridiculously complicated. In this version, I'm going to eliminate the non-necessity. Does that make sense? I'm going to eliminate things where I think, well, once it's blended in, no one's going to really perceive it individually. It's not really going to add too much of a difference. Where I could eliminate it, that makes the formula cheaper because you're not adding extra materials in. It's one less material. And so I approach it in different ways. In this version, I'm stripping things that, you know, I don't actually need and that I don't think are going to have a massive effect. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. It makes sense to me. Let me just smell this again. Ah! I'm dropping stuff. Okay, we're adding this next. Okay, this is very nice, but I'm not going to add very much. We're going to start with like 0.05 and then build up from there. We might stop at 10. Okay, so I don't think 0.05 is going to make an ounce of difference in the smell, but we'll give it a smell. Okay, I'm going to double it. We're going to go to 10. And then we're going to stop there. Don't want to overdo it, but I also don't want to underdo it. I'm going to do like just a teensy bit more. Okay, I think I'm going to stop there. I don't think that... Okay. Sorry, I'm talking to myself a little bit. Got to find it on the paper now. Where did I write it? There you go. Okay. The next notes are going to be tricky because I don't want to overdo them. Okay, let me just look at the comments again. Do you usually know what you are going for, or do you like to experiment and improvise? Both. Sometimes in this version I know what I'm going for. I've made this a few times already. It's just another version of it, and so what I tend to do is I'll wear the fragrance, in this case this version of it, and I'll write notes of like, okay, I want to smell more of this, I want to smell less of this, etc. And then when I come to reformulate it, I'll write out all the notes again. I'll eliminate the ones that I don't think are helpful or useful. I'll put a minus next to the ones that need less. I'll put a plus next to the things that need more. And then I'll start to build it with those in mind. And then we do another version of it. Then I make it again. And then we get something like this. And then I spray it on and I wear it. And then we go through the whole process again. That's what's going on. Are you working on getting the wooden perfume bench for the new place? Temporarily, I'm going to my sister's place, so I'm not doing anything while I'm there because it's just temporary. After that, we'll see. I don't think I've got enough money to have the luxury of having like a professional organ built, because I don't know how much that'll be, but it won't be cheap, so I probably won't have it for a little while. What vibes are we going for here? This one is inspired by the Naga of India, which are a semi-divine serpent race. They are protective spiritual beings that they protect enlightened people. So like sometimes you'll see an image of the Buddha and he's got like a hooded cobra over the head, or you might have a hooded cobra around the neck of Lord Shiva, things like that. And so these Naga are like protective spiritual beings, and this is around that kind of concept. So it's a little bit green, but it also uses notes that are revered within Indian and Vedic ideas, which is why I'm using things like Tulsi, for example, and Nagamortha, and so yeah, and also why the use of lotus flower, the president in Buddhism. Sure, in this case, it's the Vedic kind of Indian idea of Naga rather than the Buddhist version. But yes, that's basically the vibe. And the oud I'm using is this oud. And the profile of the oud is... This is a Moroccan oud. It's like an earthy oud. It smells like a little bit like petrichor. For anyone that knows Ensar, it reminds me of Midori Chi. Is it Midori Chi? I can't remember the name of it now. It's been so many years since I made it. I think it was called Midori Chi. Anyway. No, it's not. Sorry, I'm totally mistaken. It was called Shen Liao Ling. Yeah, this reminds me of Shen Liao Ling by Ensar Oud. It's this earthy petrichor smell that's just quite... I find it quite intoxicating. It's a kind of a brain buzzy kind of smell. And so that earthy kind of quality that it has, I'm trying to balance it with orris butter, which again, the orris butter... Sorry, my nose is a little bit itchy. The orris butter I'm using is also slightly earthy, powdery earthy. And so that combination of orris and earthy oud with the subtle green elements is what I'm going for. But with this musky kind of quality to it. So there's a deer musk recreation. There's a little bit of leather for the snake skin. I used two kinds of leather. I used a more clean kind of leather note and also a castoreum note, but a castoreum synthetic. So there's a little bit of leather for the snake. There's earthy oud. There's dusty orris butter. There's lotus flower, and then there's these kind of subtle green notes. So that's the vibe. Okay, so at the moment I'm adding a couple of green accords. Next we're going to be using Tulsi. I'm literally putting in a drop because I'm not adding it for the smell. I actually don't like the smell. It smells like clove and peppermint together. I'm putting in one single droplet because of the spiritual significance of Tulsi in the Indian culture. That it needs to be in there, in my opinion. But it doesn't mean you have to smell it. So it's in there symbolically, but not as a note that you'll actually perceive as a smell, because that's not the vibe that I want it to. I don't want it to smell like clove and peppermint, you know. But I want it in there symbolically, so I'm putting in the smallest possible amount I can, which in this case is 0.02 grams. So you won't actually smell that in the blend, but symbolically it's there, which is, you know, important to me. Okay, we're going to be adding galbanum next, which is going to be the main kind of green accord in this. Galbanum is kind of, I would say, slightly dusty green. not quite powdery, but like a dusty, dark green, dusty kind of smell, which in this idea I think lends itself quite well to that earthy oud and that powdery, dusty orris butter. So you've got dusty orris, you've got earthy oud, you've got dusty galbanum, the green. I in my brain it works quite well. I do not use real musk, correct, because of ideology or too expensive, hard to source. I'm actually not sure, even if I wanted to, I'm not sure of the legalities of using it in UK. I'm not even sure it's actually legal. I don't think I could use it if I wanted to here. I'm not actually sure. I think it might be illegal. But I don't use it because I'm vegetarian. I don't eat meat anymore. And I don't... My spiritual outlook in life... I'm not religious, but I do consider myself spiritually orientated. And I don't like causing harm to animals of any kind. I don't want anything to suffer because of me. And the deer musk is killed for the deer sack. And so it just doesn't make sense for the way that it doesn't make sense to me personally to use that, because of everything I just explained. So there you go. Is that real oud or an oud accord? No, this is real oud. That's pure 100% oud essential oil. I forgot how much that is. I don't know whether to tell you the price or not. It's multiple thousands of pounds worth of oud. It's not cheap. It's expensive oud. That's why the perfume's going to be a little bit pricey. It's a wild oud from Mes Oud from Indonesia, combined with Ensar oud. So yeah, it's not cheap, and it's pure 100% real oud. So next we're going to, I just need to get a mental picture of how strong that is. Okay. Okay, I'm going to stop here and then we're going to smell it in little increments because I don't want to overdo it. Okay, so I'm going to write that down. That's 0.07 of galbanum. Then I'm going to reset the scale and then I'm going to smell it again. Oh, I don't think I want to add any more, do I? I want it less green than before. I made it too green last time. Okay, I'm going to stop. I'm not going to add any more for now. I might... Yeah, no, I think I'm going to stop. I added a little bit, but I don't want to overdo it. I'm going to keep that pipette for later, because I can reuse it for the galbanum again. Sorry, I'm just contemplating life here, what I need to do. Let me smell it again. Okay, I don't think I'm going to make it any greener. I think I'm going to leave it there for the green. Okay. What's some of your favourite movies? I don't watch a whole lot of movies anymore. My favourite ones in general, I really liked The Truman Show with Jim Carrey. The Truman Show's great. I thought that was a brilliant film. I've watched it more than once. I think 2 or 3 times I've seen The Truman Show. I really liked Into the Wild with Emil Hirsch. That's based on a true story. This kid graduates high school, is very intelligent, gives all his money to charity, and just drives off. And as the story goes into the wild, so to speak, he just backpacks everywhere, ends up in Alaska. It just has like this raw life experience of like working in different parts of the country, meeting different people, exploring life, just being of like a free spirit. Very, very cool. Very tragic at the same time, but a good film. I like The Illusionist with Edward Norton and Jessica Biel, and that's a story about a magician. It's a young magician boy, and he falls in love with this beautiful girl, and they have this beautiful friendship as children. But he's like poor from poverty, and she's like a princess. She's like rich and you know different, completely different class. But they have a beautiful friendship, but they're separated and no longer allowed to see each other. And he disappears. He grows up. They become adults. He comes back to the town as an adult, as this illusionist, this magician, and starts doing shows. And she comes on stage, and at this point she's like engaged to be married to like the prince dude or this very powerful person. It's been a long time since I've seen it. And she cottons onto that it's him, and they basically fall in love again, all over again. And it's this tragic tale of two people in love that can't be together, but they really want to be together, so they have to come up with a plan of how they can be together. I'm not going to give away too much of the plot in case you want to watch it and you haven't seen it, but it's bloody brilliant. It's and what's nice about it is, well, I'm not going to tell you. It's just fantastic. Go watch it. It's one of my favorite films. What else do I like? I don't know. I only hope Ensar does discounts when buying in bulk for actual use. No, he does not. Otherwise, he probably becomes vegetarian because meat is no longer affordable. No, you don't really get a discount buying from Ensar, in my experience. I do like private message with them, and sometimes they'll like round off the number for X amount of grams and give you a slightly better deal, but it's not, you're not like saving a lot of money. I mean, it's still very expensive. The Prestige is a great, yeah. Prestige is with God, I can't remember his name. The guy that played Batman is a British actor. I can't remember his name. What's he called? I can see his face. He was in the film with Ford versus Ferrari as well. That was a good film. Whatever that was called. Was it called Ford versus Ferrari? I don't know. His name escapes me. Christian Bale, that's it. Bloody hell, sorry. I don't watch many films, to be honest, in a long time. So, yeah, those are the older ones I can think of. I can't even remember the last time I went to a cinema. I think it's been like 10 years since I've been to the cinema. I just got a cold shiver. Okay, let me smell this again. Okay, what do I need to do? What do I need to feel for this? I'm just collecting my thoughts on if there's anything else I want to add to this. Maybe a little bit of vetiver. I should have put that in the base if I wanted to. I didn't. Vetiver would work, but it's whether I want to have a Okay, I'm just contemplating different options. I don't think there's any point adding vetiver because of the oud. It might be a little bit redundant. I've not smelled any perfumes from Bogue apart from Lita. It's the only one I've ever smelled. Never smelled anything from Maleg either. Okay, next up we're gonna add that. Okay. I might also increase this. Let me increase that actually. Where is it? What did I do with it? I put it somewhere. There we go. Okay, I'm just sorry. Bear with me. Okay, cool. Let me think. It's not too green, which is good. Yeah, I think the balance is good. We're gonna go next with Nagamotha. This one is another one that's a little bit of a pain in the ass because of the bottle seal on it. God damn it, I need a knife. That's not a knife, this is a knife. I don't have big enough fingernails for this. God damn it, come on. There we go, I'm putting that in the bin, I don't need that. Goodbye. Making my life difficult. Okay, I'm going to stop there and give it a smell. Sorry if I'm not talking, I'm just sorry, I'm kind of concentrating on what I'm doing a second. Okay, I think that's good. Okay, dokey. Okay. You remember an old video with Ensar where you got to drink Keenam tea? I remember that. Always wondered if that experience is impactful as he makes it sound. It's very cool. I recommend going if he ever comes to a city near you. It was great. The tea was delicious. It kind of makes your lips go numb though. The oud makes your lips and tongue kind of numb and tingly. It tastes cool. Yeah, just smelling all the different profiles of oud was quite enlightening, of like how many profiles there are and how vastly different they all are, and it's just awesome. Very cool experience. Would you try more from them? It's good to review underground perfumes. Also curious about what you think of Toscovat. Have I smelled them? I've never smelled them. I know the brand. I actually follow them on Instagram. I've heard reviews from people that I trust that told me certain things, what they thought of the brand, and it didn't enamor me all that. I didn't get excited about trying them. Based on what I've heard from people that I know, I don't. It sounds like it probably wouldn't be my cup of tea personally. But I don't know, I've never smelled them. That's just the impression I got from other people. I do buy samples from lots of smaller kind of different brands, and I will be doing videos at some point. I'm changing the format of my channel a little bit. I'm probably gonna let me just put the lid on this. I'm probably going to not bother doing single reviews of single fragrances anymore, because they just don't get views. No one cares anymore about reviews of one fragrance. That was the core of my channel for a long time, for like the last several years. But the winds of time have changed and people just don't care anymore. And so I'm just not going to bother. I think it's a waste of time for me. If no one watches it, then I'm just literally wasting my time. So instead of doing that, what I'm going to do moving forwards is I'm going to privately test like 4 or 5 fragrances, write notes on each of them, and then do a video where it's covering 4 or 5 in a single video where they're like mini reviews. And so I'm not going to speak for like 10-15 minutes on one fragrance, where it's only going to get like 300 people watching it and like a couple of comments. It's just a waste of my time. I'm going to do a video where I do like 4 or 5 fragrances in a more condensed review. So I'm going to give you how long it lasts, basically what it smells of, but without going elaborately in detail, you know, just the core details, and give you information on 4 or 5 fragrances in a single video, and try do it under 15 minutes for covering like 5 fragrances. And I think that will get better views. It might stop the channel from dying as much as it is recently. So that's probably going to be the format moving forwards, is that instead of like a 10, 15, 20 minute video on one fragrance, you're going to get 4 or 5 fragrances in a single video, and shorter reviews of each one. Lily says 5 for 5. I think that's too long. People have short attention spans, to be honest, these days. Like TikTokers, I think, wrecked people. And people have busy lives. 25 minutes out of your life to watch someone talk about perfume is a long time. you know, people have got stuff to do. So I think if I can do it a little bit less than that, that would be good. That's generally how I'm gonna kind of go with the channel, I think. I mean, it might be different. I might do longer ones where it might be like half an hour for the video or something. But in general, I'm gonna try do it more condensed. You didn't read the rest of what I just said. Sorry, because it seems everybody stopped doing that and I missed that. But again, I don't care about views or stuff like that. Where am I going? 5 of 5, 5 fragrances. Or a minute each. Sorry, I thought you meant 5 of 5 as in 5 fragrances, 5 minutes each. Apologies. Well, it'd be longer than a minute. I don't think you can say much in a minute. That's a very short amount of time. But yeah, it would be, you know, shorter, maybe like 3 minutes a fragrance instead of, you know, something along those lines. Anyway, that my neck just made a funny, painful crack. Ow. It's because I keep turning to look at the camera and then read. Speak fast. No. Okay, let me just think. Anyway, that's the vibe I'm going to do with the channel moving forward, I think. What time is it? Oh my god, it's late. It's 11:30 already. Oh my battery's dying. I got a low battery warning. Red, your Mac will sleep soon unless plugged in. Oh goddamn. Okay, well if I just disappear automatically, it's because my laptop's just killed itself. I can't plug it in when this Mac has only got 2 ports. One's for the microphone, one's for the camera. So the battery just drains when I'm doing a live stream. Okay, I'm going to end it here because my battery's dying, basically. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll finish this off stream and I'll go plug the laptop in. I'll try to do some videos next week. Sorry for the lack of content. I know I've not done any videos for 2 weeks. Life has just been busy. I got sick and then busy. I'm going to be busy next week too, but I'll try and make time. I'm moving all my stuff over to this storage place. You know, so, you know, I just life is busy at the moment, so, you know, I do what I can. I'm also juggling trying to launch a second brand and then launch another fragrance for Centauri, and everything's a bit chaotic. So I will do my best in terms of videos, but I can't promise anything. If another week goes by, I'm sorry. But yeah, I'll see you soon at some point. I'm not, you know, the channel will continue. It just might be a little bit sporadic for the next couple of weeks. Sacrifice one. Use the camera and unplug the microphone. I mean, I can if you want, but you're not going to hear me talk. I think we'll just end it rather than faffing around, because the plug's over there on the other side of the room anyway. So good night, everyone. Take care of yourselves. I will see you when I see you. Thanks for hanging out with me. It's been a delight. And yeah, I'll see you later. Good night, everyone. Goodbye.